Hello everyone, it's Ryan from Drop Off Aquatics, back again to bring you another video. Today we're going to be talking about Staghorn algae that unfortunately we have got in one of our tropical display aquariums. It's started growing in the Juwel Trigon 190 and it's really unsightly. It can take over if you're not careful, and I thought we're going to start doing some maintenance on it now, and we're going to do a couple of techniques that we've learnt over the past to actually help combat the algae. So I thought, why not do a video and show you guys, if you're struggling with algae, some of these principles could apply and really help with trying to get rid of the algae for you. So yeah, I'm going to flip the camera around, show you the algae that we've got. It's a lot of Staghorn algae, not really any other algae present at the moment, but yeah, flip the camera around and I'll show you what's going on. So this is, as I say, the Juwel Trigon 190. It's looking really quite well at the moment. We're pretty much there with fish stocking levels wise, but if we zoom in, look at all that Staghorn algae. So if you're not quite sure what you're looking at, we're looking at this wispy stuff that's growing on the edges of the leaves or the ends of the Bucephalandra. And it's just really tough stuff. If you go to rip it off, you can manually remove as much as possible. The only problem is though, it's like Brillo pad. It's really tough stuff to get rid of. And there's some on the previous leaves there. So what we're going to do? Well, first port of call, I'm going to clean all of the glass, get all of the algae off the glass panels, and then probably drop out an 80% water change, big old water change, and that'll just remove any of the algae floating around. Then, once we've dropped out the 80% water change, I'm going to work quite quickly, and we're going to actually apply some liquid CO2 onto the affected leaves. I'm going to manually remove as much of the Staghorn algae as possible. I might even remove some of the affected leaves, really badly affected leaves. We're going to wire brush the wood down just to remove the algae off the wood, and then wire brush the rocks, liquid CO2 the leaves, and then once we've done all that, we're going to fill the aquarium back up with freshly dechlorinated water, just tap water, and then get the filtration back up and running. We're also going to add some of the C3 nitrate media as well into the filtration. That'll just help pull out any of nitrates and make the water crystal clear also. And so then we'll get everything back up and running and see how it goes over the next coming days. Okay, so without further ado, let's get this going. Okay, so we had a few customers in the shop at this point, so I decided to, plus obviously I've got to start getting the siphon going, start doing a few bits of maintenance, so I thought it'd be best to just shoot this video and then I could just voice over. So first things first, let's get this siphon going and let's drain out, let's do this 80% water change. Best way to do it, as you can see that I was just doing there, you don't need to suck on the end of the tube anymore, guys. There's so much bacteria inside that tube. You know, you've got to imagine, if you use a tube for siphoning out water from your aquarium, once you've used it, yes, you'll empty out as much water, but you never dry it, do you? And imagine all of that, there'll be water inside that tube that will just sit there, and it'll be in your warm house, and that will grow bacteria, that could grow mold, that could grow anything. And then if you then take that siphon tube back out a week later, 2 weeks later to do your next water change, and you suck on the end of that pipe, you'll be breathing, inhaling that bacteria that has started to build up within inside that tubing. So really bad for you. Please don't do it. Don't do it. Literally, as you saw me, pause this video, rewind. If you didn't see what I did there, literally all you'd need to do
is put the end of the tube that obviously needs to get rid of the waste water. Put it wherever you're going to put it. We've got a drain just outside, so we just fix that securely so the water will just go straight down the drain. And then all I did was take that tubing off the shepherd's crook there, and I just kind of fill it up with some water a few times, and then reapply it back onto the shepherd's crook. Simply lift up the tube a couple of times, and then gravity will do it for you. Voila! No sucking on the pipe. So much better for everyone. So then once we've got the water going, obviously you can see that the water just steadily drains out. It doesn't really freak the fish out too much, which is great. I'm just cleaning the glass first and foremost. You want to do all the cleaning maintenance work first. Ideally before all the water changes is finished, because of course you can see there's quite a lot of debris. You can see all the particles floating around the water. We want as much of that to come out of the rockwork and to be siphoned out from the aquarium. So what I did was, you can see that I got the DD algae scraper, which was the blue plastic acrylic scraper on the handle. So I cleaned the two side panels. Are they side panels? I don't know what to call them. But the back panels anyway, I use that to clean those. Get all the stubborn diatom algae off. And that comes off a dream. But then of course with this Juwel Trigon 190, with the curved glass, it's a lot easier to go kind of with the panel rather than try and scrape down it. So we're using Tunzi Care Magnet Long here. And again, we are using the metal blade on this. It just cruises through the algae, no problem. So, just to let you guys know as well that I have actually sped this video up in certain places, and certain places I've sped it up a lot. So if you think, whoa, Ryan's going crazy, or the fish are, really stressed out and they're darting around the tank, no they're not, don't worry, we've just sped the video up. Just grabbed a towel because it's always handy to have a towel. I always forget them. Okay, so now we're going to start working on the plants. So I've just grabbed the Easy Carbo and I've grabbed the curved scissors. So there's a couple of leaves that it's just, the Staghorn algae has just affected it so badly that I thought, you know what, it's just going to be better to remove some of those leaves. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. We're still draining out the water, still doing the water change whilst we're working on the tank. It's such an effective method to be draining water out from your aquarium, doing your water change, whilst doing your maintenance on the other bits as well. And it's something that I highly recommend everyone to do. If you can just purchase some tubing and a shepherd's crook, there's no reason why you can't do a 50% water change and do your filters and clean the algae off the glass, and do some little bits of maintenance if you wanted to, I don't know, say you bought some new plants, or if you wanted to clean up the rockwork, clean up the wood. There's no reason why you can't do everything pretty quickly, really. So now we've got a nylon wire brush. Of course, this is completely inert. It's not going to affect the water parameters or water quality in any way, shape or form. And it's just really great because it's hard bristles. It'll take off the algae off this wood, as you can see that I'm brushing now, really easily. I'm also going to use this wire brush as well on the rocks. This is the black lava rock. And it's not got any of the staghorn algae growing on the lava rock, but we do have some diatom algae. So I just thought, you know what, we'll take it all off, make it look really nice and brand new again. So as you can see, we're just getting over every single piece of lava rock there, any branches that are exposed to any algae growing on them, and giving them a real good brush. And I'm also just trying to disturb as much debris into the water as well. Get as much debris into the water. We're siphoning, doing a big water change, we're siphoning out as much water as possible. So it makes sense if we can get as much debris into the water column. The siphon, of course, will just take that out. Okay, so I just needed to make the pipe a little bit longer. So I'm just literally easing the plastic tube slightly longer, just so we can take out as much water as possible here. And then it's on to the next step. So the next step is using and applying the Easy Carbo, the liquid CO2. But to be honest, you can use any liquid CO2 for this. It doesn't have to be Easy Carbo. We've also used the liquid carbon by Predibio, and that also works well. Obviously, you want to be very, very careful when using this. It's not something that we recommend getting onto your skin, so hence the gloves. Would always recommend using gloves. Now, unfortunately, I was trying to show the camera the products of everything that I use, but it just completely failed. So, yeah, you can only see like half of the bottle that is actually shown to the camera when I do like close-ups and stuff. So, this is another reason why I decided to do the voiceover in the end, because upon reviewing the video, I realised it was rubbish. So, I thought, right, voiceover, and then at least then I can tell everyone each name of the product and exactly what I'm doing at every single stage. So all I'm doing, I've just got a simple paintbrush, and I'm just applying little bits of liquid CO2, liquid carbon, onto each affected leaf with the Staghorn algae onto. I'm being nice and careful, trying not to get any on my bare skin. I'm just taking my time whilst doing this. I don't want it splashing up in my face or anything like that. Really, I'd always recommend, if you've got some goggles, wear some goggles. There's no point in not being safe. But yeah, I'm just gently applying liquid carbon all over the affected areas. And then what I'll do is keep going over various leaves. I'll add liquid carbon onto any of the affected wood as well. You can see it there. I'm applying it to the little bits of spiderwood or azalea roots. And then the idea is to kind of leave it on the leaves for a good 5 minutes at least. I didn't want to brush it on, give it 20 seconds, and then start filling the aquarium back up, because you need that exposure time. You need that time where there's liquid carbon resting on the leaves for a little while. That's where it'll start to then affect the algae, and it should kill it off. You can see literally any plants at all I'm applying this to. The Anubis leaves right now, I've applied a lot to the Java fern in the background, because the Java fern in particular was really quite badly affected. I'm just trying to get every single leaf possible. That's the idea anyway. The only problem is, of course, it's very tricky to remember where you've actually done. So you've just got to try and fathom out like a method in your head of, are you going to go do all the rocks first, do all of the wood first, and then go from left to right and do all of the affected plants? It's tricky to try and work out what you're exactly going to do. So by this point, I was pretty much happy that I'd got most of the leaves, I think. I started to forget which leaves I had done and which leaves I hadn't done. So it's just one of those that I thought, well, you know what? I can always do this again on the next water change. We tend to water change out about once every fortnight on this particular aquarium now. And we'll do like a 20%, 30% water change, sometimes even a 50%, because it's so straightforward and so easy for us to do that, 50% is not an issue. So now it's fill up time. So you can see that again, the way we've done the shop, we wanted to make things really nice and simple in draining and filling things up after doing water changes. So this is attached to a 2,000 litre container with pre-treated tap water. It's dechlorinated, and we've also increased the TDS as well. So I'm filling up the aquarium now, and we're actually going to be adding some of the C3 nitrate removal resin media into this filter. So that was that little pouch that I just showed the camera very briefly. I've just gone to rinse that pouch now. You want to rinse it just for about a minute under the tap. It's just standard tap water. I'm rinsing it under now, just to remove any discoloration from the media. I'm leaving it in the black bag that it's provided in because that's absolutely fine. And then I'm placing it straight into the internal filter now, as you can see. And then what I'll do is I'll add some filter floss, some brand new filter floss on top of that, just so then, as you can see there, I just showed the camera, when I kick the filter back up and going, any debris, any muck and rubbish that flows in through the top of the filter will get caught by the filter floss first. That will basically mean that the life of the bag is going to be prolonged, because you don't want you want flow to go through the nitrate removal media. And of course, if you have a lot of leaves, if you have a lot of debris that starts clogging up the holes, it's going to inhibit that. So that's the reason why I've decided to put filter floss on top of it. That will remove any of the muck and rubbish first, and therefore it will keep the bag of nitrate removal media nice and free for flow to go through, basically. So if you've not seen any of my other videos on nitrate removing media, you should really go and watch those, because it's a massive eye-opener as to how effective they are. And this is one of the main reasons we've decided to add one into this display. And in actual fact, we are starting to add them into every single aquarium in the shop. We're adding them into most of the display tanks now. We've got bags in our shrimp racks, in our little filters. We've got some nitrate removal media in a lot of the filters now, in quite a few of our fish tanks as well, like sales tanks. So yeah, it's a good product. And so basically, it's such a simple product. It's a small bead, and there's thousands of them in this little pouch. They have a huge surface area, and as water flows through this pouch, the media will absorb nitrates. It doesn't absorb anything else. It won't affect your KH, it won't affect your GH, it won't affect your pH. We've tested this. We've done various tests now on quite a few aquariums, and we've not found any issues whatsoever with altering pH, GH, KH, or TDS. So it only absorbs nitrates. We've even trialed it on aquariums where we've actually introduced treatments, malachite green, aquaflavin, things like that, and the water is still the same colour. So for example, let me explain myself a little bit better. So malachite green, if you've never used it, it's a treatment which is great for like antifungal properties. And when you introduce that into your aquarium, it's going to send the water very, very green. Now, with carbon, you can use that to absorb that if you wanted to remove it from the aquarium. So of course, if you're running carbon in your internal filter, you add malachite green, the water goes very, very green, but then over the next few hours, the carbon, or however long it takes, but the activated carbon will then remove that from your aquarium. The resin, well, the nitrate removing media, should I say, we've not noticed any difference in the change in colour from the water. So we added some treatment into an aquarium on like Friday. We have a few patches of the nitrate removing media inside the internal filters, and the next morning the water was still really nice and green. So it literally only absorbs nitrates from the water. It does also have absorbing properties from like a point of view where it'll absorb any tannins from the water as well. So you can, if you don't want tannins in your water, if you don't want tannins leaching out from your bogwood and turning your water like a yellow orange colour, then I'd highly recommend purchase some of this C3 nitrate removing media from us. It works so well and you get such clear water, it's incredible. So that's a little bit of a discussion about the media. Of course, you can see that whilst I've been jabbering on, we are just filling up the tank now. We're pretty much done with our maintenance on this aquarium for this video. And what we'll do is we'll monitor now what happens to the algae, and I'll keep doing little clips over various days to show you the progress on what happens. So you'll see in this one video exactly what happens from start to finish. So I'm just cleaning up the glass. I like to keep the glass clean on all the displays. Well, any tank I like to keep the glass as clean as possible, but especially the displays, they need to be kept nice and clean at all times, in my opinion. So I'm just checking now for any little bits of free floating algae that I can just pull out manually. However, I couldn't see anything, so I've just left the tank filling up. Also, I had a customer that just needed some fish pulling out, so I've just gone to serve them quickly. I just left the aquarium filling up. So now I've done, I was just pulling out a couple of loose Java leaves just to try and keep the aquarium looking as pristine as possible, but ultimately. Okay, so you can pretty much see that the maintenance is done now on this tank. It's pretty much filled up now. We've used, just to reiterate, we've used dechlorinated tap water, and then we've also added mineral salts just to buffer the pH and increase the TDS of the water to about 180 parts per million. Now again, I'm just checking for any free-floating debris, any leaves that might be just sitting at the back of the aquarium that might clog up the filter when I turn it back on. But I'm pretty happy that the aquarium's pretty clear now. So I've turned the tap off, the aquarium's filled, and that's it. So it's now time to get it all back up and running again. We've just got the lids back on, you can see it's all enclosed now. I'm just putting the hose away, and then we'll get the pump back on. Obviously, always remember to turn your heater back on if you're running a heater in your aquarium. And job is a good one. Okay, so this is dodgy footage now, I do apologise, but this is basically just zooming in.
Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, this maintenance video. I thought, why not share it with you and show you what we're doing to combat this Staghorn algae. So the pump is now back on and you can see the water circulating. Obviously the water is quite cloudy, we've done a massive water change, that's to be completely expected, but that will clear up over the next couple of hours. Obviously the filter floss will take out any of those small particulates floating around in the water and any of the floating algae, and also by adding in that C3 nitrate media, that's going to really help to get this water crystal clear in no time. So yeah, that's it for this video, everyone. As always, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification button if you want to see more videos like this. And we'll catch you on the next one. Okay, so it's the next day, and I just wanted to show you what is actually going on. So just focus in there. So you can see these leaves that had really bad Staghorn algae, not Biropsis, that's marine. The really bad Staghorn algae is actually gone a very pale colour on the Java leaves. It's very, very pale on the Bucephalandra as well. Still there, but very pale. And then if we come down to the Anubias, whoa, check out that. It's gone like a pinkish colour, pinky red. So I would say that this is definitely dying off. Fingers crossed it is anyway. And so we'll come back tomorrow, and basically every single day I'll record what goes on in this tank. Okay, so we'll check it out tomorrow.
So it's a few days later, and I wanted to do another video update just to show you guys what's now occurred. So the leaves that we actually added the liquid carbon onto, you can see it has pretty much battered them. So at first the algae went really light in coloration. It went to like a grey colour. Some of the Anubis was like crazy pink. I thought I'd dyed their hair or something. And so then the following days that occurred, then the algae all started to die, but then so did some of the leaves that we had actually added the liquid carbon to. So that's something to bear in mind. The Bucephalandra doesn't seem to be that affected by it. All of the algae's gone, it's died off, but it doesn't seem to have affected the leaves. It's affected mainly the Java fern leaves and just a couple of Anubias. So what we're going to do is just get in there and we'll probably remove them manually. So let's get to it. We are going to remove all of the affected leaves that unfortunately haven't done so well with the liquid CO2. Mainly the Java fern and a couple of Anubias leaves just down on the bottom there. But overall I'm really happy with using the liquid carbon, the liquid CO2 on this. You can see how clean the rocks are looking. The branches, the azalea root look fantastic. The tank overall, you know, the water is looking crystal clear. I'm pretty happy with everything in this tank. It's just a few of the leaves now that are just looking pretty sorry for themselves. So we're going to manually remove those. That'll also help to encourage new growth. So you can see that I've just got my scissors there and I'm just going down as far as possible, down close to the rhizome, and I'm just cutting all of the really badly affected leaves away. I'm being careful with the fish, of course. There are some bristlenose encystris in here that like to go in amongst these, so obviously we don't want any casualties. So I'm just being really careful where I'm cutting the Java fern leaves. Now for now, of course, it's easier just to focus on one thing, so I'm focusing on cutting all of the leaves off. Well, not all of the leaves, I don't want a completely bare Java fern. I'm just cutting all the badly affected leaves and I'm just letting them float around the aquarium. Once we've hacked away and removed all of the badly affected leaves, then I'm just going to get in there with my hands or a net and I'm just going to remove all of the floating debris afterwards. So yeah, there's one or two leaves on this Anubias on the left hand side. There's a couple of leaves in the middle, in the center of the aquarium on the bottom. So I'm just going to hack those off, just to really try and get the tank looking absolutely amazing again. Now, at the moment, obviously, it's not looking absolutely amazing because there's leaves everywhere. But it's just the easiest way to do this. So I'm pretty happy at this point that most of the leaves that are badly affected or that have started dying from the liquid CO2 are now all sorted. There's a couple of bits that I've just trimmed off, like higher up the leaf. But I think we're done. So yeah, now I'm manually removing any of the leaves. I'll get my hand out there. We'll let all the fish settle back down. We'll keep the pump running, of course. Always keep the filtration going 24/7 unless you're doing a big water change. And the water will soon clear back up again. And I'll probably do another video, well, another little clip, either tomorrow or the day after, just to show you the complete finished aquarium, just so you can see where it was, probably maybe 5 days ago, 6 days ago, and see what it looks like, after a week of treatment. So we actually added some of these neon tetras into the tank as well. I just thought it needed a little bit more activity, and it just needed some colour in there, a little bit more vibrant colour. And so the neon tetra, it's a fantastic little fish, and we just thought, yeah, why not? It's an iconic fish. It's probably arguably the most popular tropical fish in the world. So we thought, yeah, let's get a nice shoal of neon tetras in here. It just looks really smart. Okay, so we'll give it a couple of days now, and I'll come back and show you another clip. 3 days later, this is what the aquarium's looking like now. So you can see that all of the Staghorn algae has completely disappeared. The leaves are looking pretty nice and healthy. We're getting new growth on the Anubias. We're getting new growth on the Bucephalandra and the Java fern. I'm doing a little pan round now just to show you all the rocks, the wood. It's all looking really nice and clean. And so me and Kelly are really happy with this aquarium, how it's looking again now. And all we'll do is just keep on with the water changes, keep doing little bits of fertilizer, and yeah, we'll be absolutely fine and happy with this aquarium. Thanks very much for watching this video again, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.